Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today, we are going to be making stretchy yogurt. I just recently learned about stretchy yogurt. It's been popularized by a yogurt shop named Mommy's in China. One recently opened here stateside in Flushings, New York. And essentially, it's what it sounds like. It's yogurt that has a stretchy, kind of gelatinous texture to it, and it is adorned or accompanied with a bunch of different things, namely mostly fruits, but you also can get popping boba, all kinds of different toppings. I believe it comes with 5 fruits that you can select from, kind of like a salad bar, and the person will add all the fruit for you, and then you can have a dry topping, which could be some kind of chips of some kind or dried fruit, and then you can have a wet topping, which might be boba or some sort of syrup on top, and then yogurt is added, stretchy yogurt. And I've seen it come in different pastel colors or plain white, and it's slightly sweetened, but I really want to know what this is like. Now, I don't live near Flushings. I certainly don't live near China, so I can't go get it for myself. So today we're going to be making it at home, and I'm using Kat Liu's recipe for inspiration. And I have to thank again my friend Heather Martin for telling me all about this. I'll put a link to her article in case you want to read more about the stretchy yogurt phenomenon. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, it seems to be a bit of a mystery what actually creates the stretchy texture in Mommy's recipe. It could be a particular bacterial strain in how the yogurt is cultured, or it could be something that is added to it. In this case, we're going to be using the latter strategy. We're going to be using some tapioca flour, otherwise known as tapioca starch, which is made from cassava root, and it has a nice kind of stretchy, bouncy texture. So we're going to be using that starch along with some milk to create this texture, and then add it to our yogurt. So if you've ever made yogurt before, you know that it is made from some type of milk, usually a animal-based milk, but you can make yogurts with plant-based milk, and it's inoculated with some kind of bacterial cultures or several strains of it, which grow in the milk and sour it slightly, changing the biology of the milk and creating this kind of thickened texture. It's full of live bacterial cultures, which are also called probiotics, which are really great for your gut health. I love yogurt, but they are sensitive to temperatures. So this method uses some heat, and I'm going to try to avoid that heat by cooking the tapioca flour with the milk separately from the yogurt, so that I don't overheat my yogurt and kill all those good bacteria. So to my bowl, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch, or it's also known as tapioca flour. The consistency is very similar to cornstarch. It's very finely ground. To that, I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of whole milk. If you're making this plant-based, of course you would add a plant-based milk. I'm not sure if you would get a similar texture if you use a plant-based milk. So whisk that in, just like as if I were making a cornstarch slurry. So whenever you add cornstarch to something that you want to thicken, you usually add it to water, so that when you combine it together, it doesn't get lumpy. So thoroughly whisk that. And now we're going to microwave this. I'm going to cover it first. I'm going to make this kind of tight so that I can puncture it a bit. I'm going to microwave this for about a minute and a half until it thickens. In that time, I'm going to grab my Greek style yogurt. I need 1/2 cup of yogurt, so equal amount milk to yogurt, because we want this to be kind of pourable. From the videos I've seen, the yogurt is stretchy yet pourable. Okay, alrighty lovelies, 1.5 minutes has passed, and look at this. Wow, okay. Let's give this a whisk. Oh, wow, look at that. How cool. It's definitely gooey and jellied. Okay. How cool. I'm gonna add some of my yogurt to this just to kind of thin this out a bit. But I don't want to kill all those live active cultures, those beautiful things. So look how stretchy it is. It's super stretchy. Look at that. It's kind of like mozzarella cheese, but jellied. I'm gonna whisk this a bit just to cool it off. And now I'm gonna add my rest of my yogurt. Keep using a whisk and combine that in. The color and consistency reminds me a bit of Booza, which was a stretchy ice cream that I made with an ice cream maker that I thrifted. I did that video a few years ago. You should definitely check that out. I'll put a link to it down below in case you missed it. But here is our fabulous yogurt. I'm making an unsweetened version, but if you'd like to add sugar, you certainly can. Or you can use a flavored yogurt, like a vanilla yogurt. More oftentimes than not, they contain sugar. So, beautiful. Yogurt is complete. And now, let's prepare our additions. So, I've got some beautiful raspberries and blueberries that I've washed and dried. I'm gonna add those. And I've also got some kiwi and starfruit. Ever had a starfruit before? I believe they're also called carambolas, but they're called the starfruit for pretty obvious reasons, tropical fruit. I did an old Fruity Fruits video. If you don't know the Fruity Fruits series, it's where I taste a fruit I've never tasted before, and they're fruity to me because they're new to me, but I have had a starfruit, and look, when you cut it in cross section, you can see why it's called the starfruit. Isn't that beautiful? Kind of forgotten what a starfruit tastes like. I remember it being sour. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, tangy, succulent. The interior is kind of similar to the interior of a grape. Very juicy. The flavor is kind of reminiscent of a grape, but a little different. A little bit of a more tropical twist to it. Definitely less sweet than a grape. I also have some kiwi fruit, very pretty fruit. Well, the outside's not so pretty. Do you know that you can eat the skin of a kiwi fruit? I have never. Maybe I should try. But look at the interior of a kiwi. Gorgeous. All right, now I have to try it. Slice of kiwi with the skin on. Kiwi is so cool looking. All right, let's give it a taste. It's fine. Kiwi is great. It's got a very tart flavor to it. Tiny little seeds kind of remind me of the crunch of a strawberry, but tart and flavorful. And the skin's nice. Look at all this gorgeousness. So let's begin with some blueberries. But look at the size of these raspberries. They're monstrous. Okay, a few of those. Add some kiwi for color. Now goes the very thick, stretchy yogurt. Wow, here we go, into the glass. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, and then we'll add some dried strawberries. Starfruit. Ooh. I'm gonna add a big slice of kiwi. Ooh. And then some basil seeds. Sprinkle on top. Pretty. Look how pretty. Alrighty, lovelies, let's give the stretchy yogurt a taste. It certainly turned out pretty, didn't it? Look at all that fruit down below, up top, and some basil seeds on top. Basil seeds behave very similar to chia seeds. When they get in contact with water, they develop a gelatinous kind of gel capsule around the seed itself. They're really great for thickening up coconut milk, for example, if you want to make an instant kind of pudding, but they're really good for you, full of fiber and calcium. Oh my gosh, look at this consistency. This consistency is so cool. Look at that. So stretchy. Alrighty, my first taste of stretchy yogurt. I'm gonna have it just with the basil seed first. Look at that. Itadakimasu. Wow. Now, my version is not sweetened, but I drink kefir every morning, And it reminds me of kefir, but a little bit sweeter. But I think what's most interesting is the texture. It's kind of slimy. And bouncy. It's got a gel-like feeling in your mouth, and it's playfully bouncy. Kind of like mochi, but not as rubbery or resistant, more jelly-like. If you've ever made slime with your kids using Elmer's glue and borax, it has a consistency just like that. It's very, very playful, but I imagine it's not for everyone. I just had it with the strawberry, and that's great. I think most people would also like it with some sweetener. I don't mind it like this at all. Like I said, I drink kefir every morning, plain. So I'm very much used to unsweetened dairy, and I quite like it. And especially with the fruit, I'm adding some dried strawberry. Again, because we added milk to the yogurt is not as tangy. It's much milder and sweeter and more dairy-like than being kind of tangy or acidic. Let's try it with the fresh fruit. I'm gonna try it with some of the kiwi. Great with kiwi as well. But I would suspect a lot of Westerners would have a hard time with this texture. All over Asia, lots of people really appreciate different kinds of squelchy, crunchy, slimy textures. Lots of textures that I think Westerners would have a harder time. For example, when I lived in Japan, I really learned about lots of slimy textures like natto or yama-imo, which is a mountain potato that is grated and often added to noodles or rice, and has a really slimy consistency, which I adore. Or natto, where you have to really whip it up and it gets this kind of foamy, stretchy, sticky, mucilaginous texture. But here, I think people have different connotations with those textures. I think some people might have a hard time with this kind of texture that I quite enjoy. Taste-wise, it's good. It's like a mild yogurt, but this texture, fabulous. Raspberry. Great. Having said that, I probably wouldn't go to the effort of making it again, just because it's just an extra step. I'm a very no-nonsense kind of person, and I would much rather just taking a scoop of my Greek-style yogurt and adding it to my fruit and adding toppings on top and just being perfectly happy with that. But this is delightful to try, and I would recommend trying it just for the experience. All right, my lovelies, thanks as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends, follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Oh my gosh, eat all the fruit. Okay, mommy.